The laughter came first, sharp and careless, cutting through the quiet discipline of the training hall like a crack in glass. It echoed off the polished mats and framed certificates, bouncing past rows of black belts who had spent years earning the respect stitched onto their uniforms. In that moment, no one noticed the woman pushing a mop along the edge of the room, her shoulders slightly bent, her hair tied back in a simple knot. No one noticed the stillness in her movements, or the way her eyes lifted only once, briefly, as if measuring something invisible. What began as a joke, as a moment of arrogance, would soon turn into a memory that every person in that room would carry for the rest of their lives. Before the story goes any further, take a second. If you believe in kindness, humility, and second chances, this is the kind of story that needs to be shared. Like the video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs inspiration today, and subscribe to the channel so more stories like this can reach the right hearts. The training center was famous in the city, a place where discipline was strict and egos were fed carefully, one belt at a time. Champions had trained there, trophies lined the walls, and the air itself felt heavy with ambition. Every evening, professionals and amateurs alike came to test themselves, to prove they belonged. In that world, respect was measured by rank, strength, and reputation. And the cleaning lady existed outside all of it. She arrived before sunrise and left after dark, wiping away sweat, dust, and discarded pride. Her name was rarely spoken. When it was usually followed by instructions or impatience. She had been working there for years, long enough to watch students arrive trembling and leave confident, long enough to see friendships form and rivalries break apart. She learned the rhythms of the place, the sound of feet on mats, the controlled breathing, the moments of silence before a match began. She learned without asking, without being taught. Life had taught her to observe quietly, to carry her past without burdening anyone else with it. Her days did not start at the gym. They started in a small apartment where the walls were thin and the mornings were cold. She carried responsibilities heavier than any weight lifted in that hall. Loss had shaped her, disappointment had hardened her, and survival had demanded strength long before anyone ever laughed at her presence. There was a time, long ago, when discipline and training had been her world too, before circumstances tore it away. That part of her life had folded inward, becoming something private and protected, something she did not share. On the day everything changed, the hall was crowded. A special session was underway, with advanced students watching an exhibition spar. The energy was high, confidence almost overflowing. Between rounds, eyes wandered, attention drifted, and that was when someone noticed her more clearly than before. The laughter came again, louder this time, fueled by an ego that believed skill belonged only to those wearing the uniform. The suggestion followed, careless and mocking, aimed at the woman with the mop as if she were a prop in a joke. The room reacted with amusement, curiosity, and discomfort all at once. Some looked away, sensing the cruelty beneath the humor. Others leaned forward, eager to be entertained. The woman stood still. The mop rested against the floor. In that pause, something ancient and steady surfaced inside her. She did not respond with anger. She did not rush. She simply breathed, the way she had learned to do long before cleaning became her livelihood. Agreeing to step onto the mat was not about pride. It was about dignity. It was about a lifetime of being unseen, and the quiet decision that this moment would not pass the same way. She removed her gloves, set them aside neatly, and stepped forward with a calm that felt out of place in a room buzzing with anticipation. The laughter faded, replaced by whispers. Black belts watched closely now, their expressions shifting as they noticed her posture, the way she stood grounded and balanced. The challenge was meant to be harmless, a display meant to reinforce hierarchy. But as the spar began, something changed. The room felt it before anyone could explain it. Her movements were not flashy. They were efficient, precise, born from muscle memory rather than bravado. She did not attack recklessly. She waited, observed, and responded with timing that could not be taught quickly or faked easily. Every exchange rewrote the assumptions in that hall. The confident stance of her opponent faltered, replaced by surprise and then strain. She moved like someone who understood not just technique, but intention. Each step, each shift of weight, told a story of years spent training not for applause, but for survival and self-mastery. The mop bucket at the edge of the mat suddenly felt symbolic, a reminder of how easily people mistake roles for worth. Black belts leaned forward now, not out of mockery, but respect. Instructors felt something tighten in their chests as they recognized the discipline in her form. This was not luck. This was not a trick. This was skill honed through sacrifice. The spar ended not with humiliation, but with silence. A silence thick with realization. The woman stepped back, her breathing steady, her expression unchanged. She picked up her gloves again, returned to the edge of the mat, and resumed her work as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But everything had changed. The laughter did not return. Eyes followed her with a new awareness. Some felt shame, others awe, and a few felt inspired in ways they had not expected. In the days that followed, the story spread beyond the gym. Students talked about it in hushed tones. Instructors reflected on their own assumptions. The woman noticed small changes first. Nods instead of orders. Space made instead of taken. Eventually, an invitation came, offered with genuine respect rather than curiosity. She listened, considered, and accepted on her own terms. Training again did not erase her past, but it honored it. She taught not just techniques, but humility. She reminded students that strength without respect is hollow, and that titles mean little without character. Her presence reshaped the culture of the gym. People trained harder, not to dominate, but to understand. The mop and bucket remained, but they no longer defined her. Outside the gym, her life began to shift too. Confidence spilled into other spaces. She stood taller on public buses, spoke more firmly when needed, and allowed herself to be seen. The lesson she carried was simple yet profound. You do not owe the world an explanation of your strength. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment to remind others, and yourself, of who you really are. As time passed, new students arrived, unaware of the story at first. They saw her cleaning, teaching, observing. Eventually, they heard whispers. Eventually, they learned. And when they did, it changed how they looked at everyone around them. The gym became more than a place of physical training. It became a place of quiet transformation. Near the end of every session, when the hall emptied and the lights dimmed, she would finish her work with the same care as always. The floor shone, reflecting not just effort, but respect earned the hardest way. Those who had laughed now carried a lesson that stayed with them long after bruises healed and belts were upgraded. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone underestimated or unseen, take a moment now to engage with this video. Your likes, shares, and subscriptions help stories like this reach people who need them most. And before the ending, here is a special request. Please comment below what this story made you feel, or share a moment when someone surprised you by their hidden strength. The woman never asked for applause. She never demanded recognition. She simply lived her truth when the moment arrived. And in doing so, she changed a room full of black belts, not by overpowering them, but by showing them the quiet power of humility, resilience, and respect. That is the kind of strength that lasts long after the laughter fades.